What we are going to see now, to hear about Succoth, this is, as you can see here, my book, The Mystical Glory of Shabbos and Festivals, which means that these books are really covered Shabbos also. One can get it, Amazon.com, Kindles, or in my site, GlazersonBooks.com. Very interesting explanation based on Kabbalah or Medrash or Talmud to show the beauty of the festivals and Shabbos, which really comes so nicely through the Hebrew letters. The Hebrew letters, which are the foundations of the world. So let us now carry on with Succoth, but another aspect of Succoth, and this is the Succoth and the four species. We know on Succoth is a great and important commandment to have four different kinds: lulav, esrog, hadashim, and arobes. We discuss about it, but let us see first the main idea of the four species. So as I said, the holiday of Succoth is also called the holiday of gathering by the Torah, Chad HaAsif. This name seems to refer to the gathering of the fruits, which is done around the time of Succoth. So it means that it is known after sowing the winter and going through the summer when all this grow nicely. So the beginning of Tishrei, this is really the time, the season, that all these fruits are collected and brought into the house. So this is why the Torah called it Chag HaAsif, the festival of gathering. But in fact, it has much deeper idea. Yeah, gathering the fruits, the fact, but there is something more that we have to gather and to connect and to put together. And the deeper teaching us something about the spiritual quality of this holiday. The mitzvah of the four species on Succoth can be seen as expression of unity which on community of Israel experiences during this auspicious time of year. Our sages point out that the four species symbolizes the four types of people which make up the nation of Israel. From the most secularized to the most observant, all are drawn together and unified on Succoth, the pillar of peace. So, as the Medrash points out, how each kind of the four species represent the different groups of people. The arobe, the willow, no taste, no smell, represent really the lower part of people who don't have really mitzvot and Torah. The lulav, which is the centered one, represents people with good deeds, like the date. The highest of all is the esrog, which have these advantages of smell and food. Again, it's very nice smell, it is known, and also good food done from it. So this represents people who are really perfect, complete in deeds and Torah, studying Torah. So the same thing, the lentil from one side also shows people with good smell. So some say it refers to Torah. So whatever it is really a time of gathering, unity, because the Sukkah is a place of unity. Our rabbis tell us that all people can be, yes, they can fulfill the mitzvah of Sukkah with one Sukkah, being together. So Sukkah, as it is, time of unity. And it is interesting that there is a famous mitzvah which is called Akel, assembly, for which all of Israel, women and children included, come to Jerusalem. And this is unique to the holiday. So on Succoth it was done. So on Sukkot the entire nation gathers in Jerusalem, the city of peace. The unifying property of Sukkot is also supplied by each individual, for all of one's limbs come together for the purpose of serving God. As I said, that those four species also represent the main lips of man, the lips, the willow, the lulav represents the spine, the brain, the willow, the lips, the etrog, the heart. So basically, to make unity outside with people, one has to be united himself to control his limbs, his thoughts, his emotions, his eating. Everything should be really kept properly. So this is really unifying property of Sukkot. Then, looking more into it, definitely it is apparently from the verse of the Torah that Sukkot is intended to be a time of abundance, happiness. 3 times the word happiness is mentioned in the Torah in connection with the holiday. ושמחת בחגיך, be happy, rejoice, the festival. והיית אך שמח should be only happiness, pure happiness you should have. Then, ושמחתם בחגיך, also, שמחתם לפני השם, be happy in front of God, by giving offering, at that time there is an offering, the temple. So, all this really comes together, 3 times joy, the expression of joy. Some say it really indicates the 3 dimensions of man. The mind, a man should be happy in his mind, understanding that everything that is happening to him is from God. This makes him happy. Because we know what is happiness, very famous definition for happiness, atarat Succoth, removing away all doubts. Yeah. Doubt, Safek is remarkable Amalekite. When a man understands and sees clearly the hand of God in everything, also in bad thing, also unable to bless and something bad, because he should believe everything from God. Yeah. So the real happiness is when a man has total confidence in God and try to understand, but he looks at everything from God. So no doubts. Yeah, doubts is the result of not understanding things, lack of faith, confidence in God. But if one really knows quite well that everything which God does is good, is for his benefit, so sometimes also, unfortunately, have to go through not such pleasant situation. If a man is sick, to go operation and so on, not so nice, but everything is for good. So man should have this right. And in fact, this is exactly what Succoth is. This is the right understanding how history in the desert, how Jews had total confidence in God, and they could see clearly that everything is from God. The desert, the manna, water, everything was clearly from God. So this is always like this. So this is why it's such great happiness in Succoth 3 times. It's with the intellectual, the mind understanding, and the emotions, the heart, a very, very happy really, feeling, emotion when he knows that it's God with him. Exactly this is what Succoth is. Then comes the third expression, smachtem, rejoice and be happy. This is basically dancing, singing. This was done in Simchat Beit HaShe'eva, right? So the 3 terms or expression of joy and happiness represent these 3 dimensions of the mind, of the heart, and the body, the physical. This is what in Succoth is a great mitzvah, to be happy, because happiness and unity have a definite relationship. Where there is strong unity among men, there is also much happiness. It's so interesting that if you look into the Hebrew words of happiness, of joy, in Hebrew you have many, many words of joy. Simcha, sason, simcha v'sason, chedva, ditza. In fact, in the wedding there is one of the 7 blessings which contain 6 or 7 expressions of happiness. Ditza, chedva, sason v'simcha, chedva. So many expression terms for happiness and joy. Each one represents something else, a different kind of joy and happiness. As we said, it can be mental one, emotional one, practical one. But one of the words is chedva. Chedva, also joy. Now this word chedva is composed of the letter chad, like לקח אחד, chad, oneness, and Vav K. Vav K are the 2 letters from the holy name of God. The last name, the first letter Yud K, represent Chokhmah and Binah, wisdom and understanding, to do more with the mind, with the heart. And Vav A, the last 2 letters represent more the emotional and the feeling. It means not only spiritual, but practically divine providence. This our rabbis tell us that the letter Vav and Hey, the last letters of God, have the shape of a hand. Vav, in Hebrew, Vav is like a line, like a hand, and Hey is 5. The gematria 5 is Hey, and what it represents, the 5 fingers. It means like the hand and the 5 fingers represent practical things. The same thing. It shows clear divine providence in the world, the hand of God clearly seen. Unfortunately, the Amalekite covers it, but this is really what they mean, Vav A. So the Hebrew word chedva have chad, unity and oneness, really more echad, with Vav K, with the letters of God, which really showing us that joy is a function of unity. Interesting. Goes together. So the letter A, as we said, of the word chedva stands for the worldly dominion of God. As you know, it's called kingdom, which the letter Vav stands for His ethereal glory. It means represent more, as this is a high level of the glory of God, which is represented by His attributes. So thus, within chedva, happiness and joy, the unity of body and soul are supplied. This harmony, which is a source of happiness on Succoth, exists between heaven and earth, between man and his fellow man, and even between the opposing forces within an individual himself. Yeah, we know, yeah. So, the most important thing is really to come in Succoth to full understanding, to full belief, confidence in God, because this is the source of happiness and joy. Yeah. So this is why it's so important on Succoth, really to think and to realize how God was merciful to Jews all over 40 years, how He supplied everything to them, the manna, the water. He defended them with the clouds of glory. Clear sight of God was in the desert. So this is really the most important part of Succoth. Even the word Sukkah, if you remember, we mentioned the previous lecture, as a numerical of the word Amen, Amen, source of faith. And the Sukkah itself is the numerical variant of the two names of God, the name of mercy, Yud Ke Vav Ke, and the sphere of kingdom. Kingdom definitely represents more judgment, while mercy is represented by Yud Ke Vav Ke. So it means we have to understand, this is why the Sukkah is supposed to teach us that the attribute of God, which comes times, unfortunately, like a very harsh judgment, dinim, are good, everything for the good. This is exactly what we say in Shema Israel. It says, Shema Israel, oh Israel, listen Israel, Hashem, the merciful one, who is sometimes Elokeinu, yeah, sometimes our judge, you know. Unfortunately, when we are sinning, when the Jewish people are sinning, the Torah says, they go through difficult times, tribulation, difficulties, but everything for their good, for this keeps them. So this is what we say, Shema Israel, listen Israel, Hashem, the merciful one, who is Elokeinu, Elokim is judgment. Sometimes he seems like a judge, punishing us. Hashem Echad, Hashem, the merciful is one, Echad. And this is the happiness, Chad, Chedva, Chedva, happiness is a result of this understanding that God is one, and therefore, even unfortunately, sometimes we go through difficult times, judgment, everything for our good. So, the great joy experience on Succoth comes as a result of the purity which Israel attained through repentance and forgiveness on Yom Kippur. For purity is the key to perfect happiness. Morality of the heart leads to happiness, as the verse says, and joy to the strait of heart. It is very interesting that the Hebrew word for straight in this passage is yashar. Yashar, which contains the same letter as word shir. Yashar is straight. Yeah, in fact, Israel also combined of yashar, kel, they are straight with God. So yashar is also the same letter like shir, yud shin resh, shir, song. Song is a product of a happy heart. Very interesting. This is why Israel, the Tikkun Zohar says that it is also shirkel. They're supposed to be straight, and therefore they have to sing the shir, to sing to God. Unbelievably. Also, the same idea. The Israel have simcha. People who are straight in their heart their happiness and joy. So this is exactly what Succoth is, a time after the process that we went through Rosh Hashanah, the 10 days of repentance, Yom Kippur, hoping that we got proper forgiveness and we did proper Shuvah, returning to God, and our neshama, our soul is pure and clean, then we will be happy. It is so interesting, the Shem Shmuel, one of the great commentators, he said there is a verse which says the underlying significance of the word dikita. It means there is a verse which says the following. In Hebrew is tagelna atzmot dikita. This is in Hebrew, which means the bones of the oppressor will rejoice. Implies that rejoicing and ecstasy result from purity. For the Shem Shmuel said, explains that the underlying significance of the word Dirchita is Akzikita, because it's the Zayin and Dalet really are changeable sometimes, especially in Aramaic. You can see this clearly. So it means that what is written Tagelna Asmot Dikita, that you rejoice, bones that you oppress, basically is you rejoice the bones of the purity. It means because your body became pure, by returning to God, by doing Shuvah. So Tagelna, so these bones, which represents the essence of man, will be happy because of Dikita, because of being pure. So, exactly this idea. It implies that rejoicing and ecstasy result from purity. So, all, as we said, is in the name, is the word Daka in Aramaic means purity. Interesting that in Aramaic Daka means purity. So exactly this is what is the idea. That happiness stemming from repentance and atonement is the essence of Succoth, as the Torah states in reference to this holiday, Vaita ach sameach, and you shall be only happy. Only happy, pure happiness. Now we know that the word for the last day of Succoth is Atzeret, which means in Hebrew denotes assembly, congregation. This word refers to the last day of Succoth, when all the light and holiness of the holiday becomes concentrated. The great happiness which permits the holiday reaches a climax on Simchas Torah. The last day of Sukkot is called Simchas Torah, the joy of the Torah, because the Torah is the basis of the purity of the Jewish soul. It is interesting that in Hebrew, Torah is purity, which is basically the same letter like Torah, because Tet and Taf are changeable. So the connection is simple, that by Torah, by studying Torah, keeping Torah, one purifies himself, purifies his soul, and with this one bring to very high level of happiness and joy. And this is really the last day of Sukkot, called Simchat Torah, because of this. Now the fact that the Torah and its mitzvahs, commandments, bring happiness, as we said, no doubt, is in Pikudei Hashem Yesharim.